Hi there, welcome to Camping Secrets. I'm Marky Mark. I'm out in the great outdoors again, and I have got an e-bike. It's by a Chinese manufacturer called Engwe, and this is their Engine Pro folding e-bike. It's a 768 watt-hour battery, 48 volts, 16 amp hours. So really good range, over 60 kilometers range, and in eco mode you can even get up to 120 kilometers. What I really like about this e-bike is it is folding. Yes, it's really heavy. It's 32 kilograms in weight, which is pretty chunky, but it does have the capability to fold, which I'll show in the review. I've had it about a month now, and I have been out a hell of a lot. My main place is this park. It's a massive park in the West Midlands, and I just take the e-bike off-road. It has got suspension. We've got front suspension here. We've got a rear shock here, and I'll go into more details about the spec in this review, and then we'll take it out for a test drive so you can see what it's like. There are some cons with this e-bike, and I'll be totally truthful about it. But for the price, it is, you know, these bikes are getting cheaper and cheaper now, and this is on the market at around £1,250. I think it's £1,268 at the moment. Check the link in the description below if you're interested. So let's dig into this. Firstly, what do you get when you buy this? Well, it's incredible what they ship with this bike. I did ask for the extra pannier at the back to go on this rack, and they sent that to me, as well as an electric pump, all the tools you need to assemble it. It does need a little bit of assembly when you first get it, nothing too difficult. So I'll show a little video showing how we put it together. So let's go through the key specs. It is a folding bike, as I said. There's a big hinge here on the crossbar, and I'll show you this in a bit. So the handlebars can come down. That's nice. It's a lockable joint, this as well, so it can't just flick open. It's got a little security tab on it there. So as I said, the battery is stored in this compartment here. It's 48 volts and it's 768 watt hours in total. So it's not as big as some of the other e-bikes, which are up at around 900. But this still will give you 60 kilometers range and even higher in eco mode. There's 5 power modes, and this thing does shift. It's a 750 watt motor, and with that 48 volts, you can get a lot of oomph. And actually, one of the niggles of the bike is when you're first pedaling, nothing happens for almost a full revolution, and then suddenly the power kicks in, which can be a bit of a shock, especially in the higher power modes. So if you do get the bike, I recommend just starting on power mode 1 or 2. Power mode 5 is just like a rocket. And I've got to say, strictly, this bike is probably not road legal as it is shipped in the UK. And they are selling this bike in the UK. But for starters, it's got a throttle, a thumb throttle here. And it's actually a little bit flimsy, but you're not meant to have a throttle that can go at full power in the UK. And you certainly can't be going at 31 miles an hour like this bike can. Yes, that's right, it comes Derestricted. So most e-bikes have a software feature which hard limit that speed to 15.5 miles an hour in the UK. This one does come shipped unrestricted, which personally for me I like. When I ride it around the park, I want to be able to have full access to the power. You can put in your own speed limit in the control panel, and I recommend you do that if you want to abide by the law. And really, you should disable the throttle as well. This is the first e-bike I've ever bought which has come with it all disabled. So if Engwe are watching this, I think for UK shipping, you probably do need to ship it with a restriction on the speed. It's an interesting shape. You've got quite a high handlebar here. So if you're on the bike, you're in quite an upright position, you can see. It's a long stem here, but I do like the riding position, and it will take height, you know, it will take riders of different heights very easily. This saddle will go quite low down, you know, so you can be sat down here like a sort of motorbike if you want, or in a more upright position. I'm 6'3", and this easily caters for my height. There's a nice quick release seat post there, and nice and sturdy. And the saddle is very, very comfortable actually. It's good quality saddle, which is impressive for the price. As you can see, we've got mud guards front and back, and these are really sturdy sort of motorbike mud guards, which I really like. You're not going to get any mud splattering up. It comes with lights on the front and back, which are activated on the control panel here. And again, we got 160mm hydraulic disc brakes front and back, and that's just really, really nice. It does stop very nicely indeed, and I love the look of the bike, the color, the decals, really, really good. In terms of gears, it's Shimano Altus 7-speed, and that's pretty standard on these e-bikes. It shifts really well, but because you've got so much power, really you don't need to be shifting that often. I did find on the road, when I put it in power mode 5, I was going like a rocket, and it you know, it can feel a little scary when you're going at full beans. So I recommend helmet, gloves, protection if you're riding this thing on the road and you're using the full power. But, you know, as I say, strictly, you should try and de-restrict that. So we do have suspension on the front and the back, and I've looked up this suspension. It's the HLT 100. I thought it looked like an air shock, but I don't think these are air shocks. I think they're coil spring suspensions on the front and back, and to be honest, they work well. This isn't a mountain bike. You're not going to be taking off and doing jumps and things like this, but having that suspension really does give it quite a plush feel, and it's a nice experience riding it around. So let's get to some of the niggles of this bike. One of the chief ones that I found is engine noise. Of course, it's got an electric motor and you don't expect noise, but when you're using the throttle or you're pedaling and the power kicks in, there's quite a metallic sort of vibrating noise. I don't really know how else to describe it. Hopefully it will come up on the camera when I take it for a test drive for you. But it can make people even look at you while you're riding. Normally e-bikes are nice and quiet, you know, like a milk float or something, just zoom, a nice sort of futuristic kind of sound. But the motor on this one is really noisy, and in not a nice way. And I thought maybe it was just a problem with this, something was rubbing or making a noise. But then I looked on the Engwe website, and in their frequently asked questions, it did say that there can be a noise from the motor. It's nothing serious, but if it's really, really intrusive, you can contact them and they'll try and sort it out. But they say it's normal. It's the flywheel in the motor making that noise. And to be honest, it does put me off the bike a little bit because it is so intrusive. So I will be contacting Engwe about that noise, because if there is a way of reducing it, I'd like to know. So you've seen how the handlebars come down. Let's just try and open up this, and you can see where the battery's stored. So again, we've got this little security feature here that you pull the tab and then that flicks open like that. I do like that there's a kickstand, and there's also a little sort of stand here for when you've folded it. So let's just open that up. So now you can see the battery here. So this battery can come out here and be charged, or alternatively there's a charge point on the bike itself. The pedals can fold, the handlebars fold down, and you know, it can be stored away, but it's not going to be easy to take this on the train. It is really weighty, and yeah, so in some ways the foldability of the bike is not as useful as it could be on a lighter bike, just because of this weight. But I think you've got to have that weight if you want that power, and I do love the power. There's nothing more frustrating than having an e-bike and you're on a steep hill and you can't easily get up. This thing will go up everything, and I just like that feeling of power, I've got to say. Got all the wires underneath the bike, and they carry the power, so that is possibly a weak point. The wires are not in the bike, you know, not routed through the frame, they're sort of external, so there's a lot of wiring. It's quite neatly done. You see all these wires, that's the battery. So it's got connectors here, which when you turn, it's got connectors here, when you put the frame hole, they slot into here, and the power is extracted from the battery. I am struggling to get the battery out at the moment, but so let's just get this battery out. I struggled in the park because I forgot one key thing. So firstly, you undo this clamp with the security tag. You got your keys in like that, and there's a little retaining tab here that keeps the battery locked in. If we open up the bike, put the stand up, and then fold it around, we should be able to just rest it like so. Just about. Then what we have to do, you turn the key until this little tab has retracted. So simply turn it around, but then the key has to come out. Key out. With the key out, the battery can come out. You can then charge it in the house if you want. Also, once it's in, you can charge it in the bike as well. The charger's 3 amps. It's a 16 amp battery, 48 volts. So it takes around 5 to 6 hours to fully charge from 0 up to 100%. That's pretty standard for a big battery like this. Let's put the bike back together. So we can just lift that front bit around, and then that locks in. Now another niggle with the bike, and I just frankly can't believe this, is that you cannot ride the bike or even turn it on without the key in the lock. So you see these keys dangling down here. So with the keys out and I hold down this power button, nothing happens. You can only ride the bike, and I did contact Engwe about this, with the key in. And luckily the key does lock in. You turn it parallel, and then once it's on, you can hold down this button and we get the power. So as I say, turning on the power is just a hard 2-second press of this left button here. It powers up. We've got a gear shifter here. We've got the throttle down here on the left hand side. And then you have plus and minus here for power modes. So we can see if I change that, it goes to sport 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 has immense power. Let's go back down to 1. You'll be able to see now, if I press this throttle button, the bike will just move on its own. See that? Loads of power. If you want to change units, you hold down the plus and minus together. We go into this settings mode here. So we can do setup. Here we can set the units if you want kilometers or miles. I want miles. Oh, wrong button. Okay. Set the brightness, power off, and here we set the speed limit. You can see it's set to 31 miles an hour when you get the bike, and that can be changed up or down, but let's keep it at that. Go back on the menu, do personalization, headlights, you know, so there's a wide range of things that could be changed. And I like the screen, I've got to say. The screen is nice. I did mention that this throttle stick here is a little bit flimsy. I do worry if I use this in earnest, it could snap off. The throttle is really useful though. If you on a steep hill like this and you're struggling to turn the pedals because the power hasn't kicked in, you can just give a blip of the throttle and it'll get you going. And it's really useful because this is super powerful. It's not like a weak push in the back. This will shoot you up the hill. You've got to be ready for it, but it is really good. So for getting started, I really recommend having that throttle. As I said, the gear shifts work well and I like the grips. Brakes are really good. I've had no problems stopping. And overall, it is good. It is really good for the money. I like the look of the bike. Kickstand and the amount of gear it came with was just phenomenal. I do recommend ordering the bag for the panniers. It's quite a nice bag. I've got my drone in here at the moment, my cameras, and it's got side pockets, a little net, and it can be taken off with a shoulder strap once you get to your destination. Right, I think we need to take this out for a little spin. Come with me. Right, first things first, the throttle. So I'm in power mode 3 out of 5 here, and I'm just going to floor the throttle, no pedaling at all, and this is the speed it can do on the flat. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, go. Woohoo! This is all throttle. Really nice speed. I mean, that is so cool. Absolutely wonderful, and as it's not making too much of a noise at the moment, the motor. Yeah, that throttle is just so addictive. It's really nice to flick it down and just whiz around. So you're gonna have a lot of fun with that if you buy one of these. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm gonna hold this down by the engine. Hopefully you can hear it. There. That's the brakes. That's that noise. I love the speed of this bike. That's that vibrating noise there. So you can hear the vibrating noise, I think. It actually seems to be a bit better today than it has been. But yeah, the throttle's excellent. I'm gonna go for a little ride around now and just give you my thoughts as we do it. Now we go up to power mode 2. Instantly there's more power. Power mode 3. Now we're motoring. And this is one of the lowest gears, so you can then shift gear to get even more speed. You can see the speed now is 12 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. It's just effortless. It's difficult for me to film while riding one hand, so let me hold on for dear life. Yeah, the metallic noise from the motor is a little intrusive. I like the looks, I like the form factor. It's very comfortable riding position with the raised handlebars like this. And yeah, perfect for this sort of riding around the park kind of activity. And it'll be a good commuter bike as well. I mean, it's like a little moped, almost. Absolutely, a lot of fun. suspension works well. I mean, it's really just going nicely over these bumps and crannies and burns. Really good fun. Watch out. It's getting chased by a dog there. I don't think he'd stand much chance if he got run over by this thing. It's a juggernaut. I do like riding around this park. A little bit nippy at this time of year. These e-bike manufacturers need to hook up some nice heated gloves to the battery. So in terms of the light, there's another button on the control panel here, and if I press that, you should see the light come on. Let's talk about the wheels. They're 20-inch by 4-inch tyres, fat tyres. They give plenty of cushioning themselves, and then you've got the suspension on top of that, so you're really comfortable. It's great for going over tree roots and things like that. I love that you can use this off-road as well as on the actual road. Yeah, so the tyres are really good. I'm not sure about getting the tyres on and off the wheel. I haven't tried that yet. I'm hoping I don't get any punctures with this thing. Hopefully those tyres are pretty thick. Right, I'm going to do a brake test now. I'm going to head over there, try and get up full speed, and I'll slam on the brakes when I'm in front of the camera. We'll see how quick. I'll do front and back. I'll try and get up to about 20 miles an hour. Let's do it. Here we go, throttle again. Really quick, really quick. I was definitely doing about 20 there. Let's try it again. Yeah, brakes work really well. So what are my conclusions about the Engwe Engine Pro folding e-bike? Well, I think for the money it's exceptional value. I don't like the metallic noise that you occasionally get under high throttle conditions. I don't like that you have to keep the key in the lock when you're powering up the bike. They're my main niggles on the bike. But everything else is amazing value for £1,269. Yes, it's a little bit extra for the bag and the electric pump, £65 extra. But for the base unit with suspension, Shimano gear set, 768 watt-hour battery, 750 watts of power, throttle, 31 miles an hour capability, a really plush saddle, the suspension, the brakes work really well, 160mm rotors, mudguards front and back. I like the colour and styling. Yes, it's heavy. I mean, there's no escaping the fact this is not a very portable bike. But the fact is, the riding position is really nice. It's perfect for commuting in my mind. Great for campsites. A couple of these, park up your camper van or your caravan and just whiz around. They deliver to the UK. I can't really fault it apart from that noise. And I'm going to be inquiring with the manufacturers whether that can be somehow reduced. Anyway, I like the bike. I hope you do too, and I hope you enjoyed our review. So thanks for watching. I've been Marky Mark. Bye for now.